Siyo from the Res. I'm Kinley.
And I'm Colton.
And this is Cherokee Nation's official podcast. We have a very special guest today, Deputy Chief Bryan Warner. Deputy Warner is a former educator, and he served on the council of the Cherokee Nation before being elected Deputy Chief in 2019 and re-elected in 2023.
He's a strong advocate for cultural and language preservation, workforce training, veterans affairs, and personal and family wellness. He's also a champion for public schools, STEM, higher education, and rural development. Deputy Warner is a proud Sequoyah County boy who lives in Sallisaw with his wife Mako and their 3 boys.
Welcome to the pod, Deputy Warner.
Welcome to the pod, Deputy.
Hey, thank you for having me here. This is pretty awesome studio you got here. I like this. Hey, you know, what's really important is the awesome people that are here with me today. So thank you all for having me. Yep.
Yeah, we're so excited. So we got Sequoyah County in the house. You can take the boy out of Sequoyah County, but you can't take Sequoyah County out of the boy. Is that right?
That's correct. Everywhere we go, I get to hear all this Adair County stuff, and I do have some roots in Adair County, of course, my Cherokee history and everything. But being from Sequoyah County, we're pretty proud.
So can you tell us about growing up in Sequoyah County in Sallisaw?
Growing up in Sequoyah County, so for me, there was one lane for my family, and it was racehorses. Everybody loves to look through an old photo album, and look back at history. And everywhere I went, there was always horses in the background, or we were in the shed row of a barn somewhere, and most of those being in Sallisaw. That's what brought my family to Sallisaw, was the racetrack. So I spent a lot of time there, and during that time, a lot of people moved in and out. But a lot of those families that came, they stayed. Their kids are still there today, so they planted some roots there, and just a fascinating time. And that was the early 80s through the mid-80s. We were kind of like the racetrack rats, is what we call it. We were the rat pack. And there was some differences there. You always knew that we weren't from Sequoyah County, but, over time, I've kind of just been grandfathered in as like a family. Our family doesn't have many roots there if you look back, just a few generations. But now my kids, they're considered Sallisawians. That's where, everybody looks and they don't remember a time when there wasn't a Warner there. The track was really thriving through the early 80s, and my dad had a big stable. My wife's dad, Bobby Turner's his name, great horse trainer, a great horseman, period, and he had a great stable. So I was always around. I was in their barn. We were always in their win pictures. Well, it probably is 82, but my mother and Mako's mom, my mother-in-law now, they were pregnant at the same time. Mako was born in February of 83, and my brother come along in September. So I remember being at the hospital when Mako was born. There I am, 6 years old. And I always thought that my brother and her were supposed to be together growing up. I had a wise grandfather, though. He used to tell me, it was like, I don't think your brother can handle that young lady. He goes, you'll probably end up marrying her. Oh, it used to make me so mad. We rode the bus together from school. So I was, I was in middle school. She's in elementary school. I can remember getting off the bus. I had a backpack on my shoulder, and every day, here comes this girl, and she would knock my backpack off my shoulder. It was so irritating. And there was a little cutout hole. We either had to walk the long way around to get to our barns, but we had cut us out a hole over one of the culverts one time. So we would go through there, and I can remember I was still as irritated as I was. There was her and another young lady. I would hold the fence for them. Then they would take off and wouldn't hold the fence for me. What's that about? You know what I mean? I've always known Mako. And then as time went, she went off to dental hygiene school, and come back, and things had just kind of evolved, and we run into one another and got to talking, and then, yeah, here we are. I tell you what, it didn't take me long. I asked the question pretty quick, I'm not going to lie. She was bold enough to go out on a limb and take a leap of faith for me and Caden, so I will always be indebted, and that was a big part of what we built our foundation on, is that family.
You did so well, because Mako is such a really sweet person. Every time I've interacted with her, she's so sweet, and you guys make a great, because you're great too, so you guys make such a great couple.
She's a big part of everything. If I've been successful at something, I always give thanks to the Lord, but he brings people into your life for a reason. Absolutely. And I had to go through some things in life to be prepared to be able to be the husband that Mako Turner at that time needed. And I felt like that was very important. Timing is everything. And still to this day, she's the rock that I lean on pretty heavy.
Speaking of your family, what does a typical weekend for the Warners look like?
Oh man, it's kind of whatever sport is happening at that time, because I always say, I've got my schedule and Mako has her schedule and what we do for work and what we have to do for my job, but the kids, they have a built-in schedule. Like right now we're getting into baseball season. I still coach Clayton. We have a 9U squad and I still coach them. So he got picked up to play, asked to play every now and then for some teams that may need an extra person. So one of us is going to have to be in Pryor, and the other one's going to have to be in Fayetteville. Wow. And then we'll probably rotate days with the other kid. It'll just depend on who wins out, but that's kind of it. We just come out of wrestling season. Both kids used to wrestle. Luke plays basketball now, so whatever they have going, that's what we try to do, and we try to balance that out also with some of the aspects of my job and where we have to go. I know a lot of people sometimes, they may wonder, where's the deputy? And it's pretty easy to find me. It's wherever the kids are. And I believe in Cherokee traditions, and I believe that family is at the center of that. And, we've got a great network of friends, whether I met them here by my time at the tribe, or, they're from Sallisaw or whatever. So we try to spend some time, whether it's fishing, whether it be hunting, whether we go to the lake. Sometimes we just want to go to Tulsa. We may not buy a thing, but we go and we shop with our eyes and, and look and interact with people. And I'll tell you this, we love food. So we're, Cherokee through and through. We like to eat different things. So that's... Yeah.
Three boys probably eat quite a bit, I'd imagine.
Man, they... Clayton, he can take down some grub, and I mean, no doubt about it. Luke can too, but they're always impressing me on how much they can inject their consumption into that bill at the end of the dinner. Yeah. And I want them to try things, but I'm like, hey, we can't always get the king crab.
Right.
Here's this other side of the menu. Mako is really good. She's a dental hygienist, so consumption of sodas and all of these things. So we do pretty good on that. So we try to keep that good, healthy balance. And she's a great influence on just doing something every day. Mako, I can sit and veg and watch. Like, I was a big movie watcher. Always. 90s movie trivia, come challenge me. I'm ready. You know what I mean? Like, I was an HBO type kid where, that might have been my babysitter. I know my mom used to rent movies just so I would watch movies. She didn't have to worry about me. But Mako and I got together. She can't sit through a movie. So we don't go. And the boys are the same. I remember taking Luke to his first movie, and we're about 30 minutes in. He goes, Dad, can we leave? You know what I mean? I'm like, well, we come here to watch this cartoon movie for you. And he's like, I'm good. I'm going. And Clay's kind of the same thing, but there's no downtime at the Warner household.
Part of that, we were talking about, we know how busy you are, but you're always in a calm, good mood. I feel like if I was that busy, I'd be stressed out all the time. Is there a secret to staying calm?
I think so. We're not 100%ers. I grew up in the Baptist church, and a buddy of mine, he said, hey, why don't you come check out the Methodist church? And I'd been on church trips with Methodist kids and stuff when I was a kid, and it was cool. And so I think that plays a big part in it. With the sports and the other activities, we don't get a lot of church services as we did before the boys when they were younger. We make it as much as we can. And, when you look at religion and different things like that, it's what you take it with you everywhere you go. The Creator, He's with you every day. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a big part of the calm. But the other part is work life and your family life. Make sure you're taking time outside of work to reboot and re-gear. You got to have good balance here at work. You got to find joy in that, because if you don't find joy in that, it will steal the time when you should restore outside of work, because you're always worried about, I got to go back. Or so that, when you do something that you love, it fuels you so that you can go have fun on the weekend, and then you're ready to come back, whether it's because you love your coworkers or you love your Excel worksheet. Whatever drives you.
So, Deputy, so we've been told that you do yoga.
Yes.
That you giving up pop.
Yeah.
So we wanted to set the record straight. What do you do for health and wellness?
Okay, now let's talk about pop real quick, because you mentioned pop. So I'd go down to southern Arkansas, where my mom's family's from, and I'd say, y'all got a pop? And they'd be like, what are you talking about? They call it soda down there. And I'm like, well, soda, that's not right. It's pop. And I'll have to admit, I'm a Dr. Pepper guy. I may fall off the wagon and have 3 in a row. You know what I mean? But like the other day, I realized I was down with Gail Miller down at Tribal Council, and she was cooking up some good grub. And I said, Gail, I'm going to cheat today. I haven't had a Dr. Pepper. And I got to thinking back, it'd been 3 weeks since I'd had a single Dr. And it was just a little cute half can. You know what I mean? But so I think in moderation on that, if it's once a week, I think you're good. I think you should look at it as it's not a staple in your life. It shouldn't be something every day. I know I struggled. I worked at the rock quarry for 6 years. And me and my stepbrother, we would drink a 12-pack of Pepsi every day. And I would get a biscuit in the morning and a big cappuccino. And next thing you know, I was like, man, Brian, you've gained a lot of weight here. And like these rocks are getting harder to pick up and all this. But going back to yoga, man, I was in great shape. I was younger then. And, Mako, she was kind of steered me back into getting my education. I get a job at Carl Albert because she applied for the job for me. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to do it. It's like, I can't get this job. About 2 years in, I remember one day getting ready to ride on the board and my back just went out. So I go to the chiropractor and this guy goes, this is bad for my business, but he goes, you're too young to be in here. He goes, you've worked your muscles in your back so long and then now they're atrophying down and you've just kind of glitched out a little bit. He goes, you need to go do yoga. I was like, yoga, I don't know, but I'm open-minded, man. I was like, okay. And I go into the yoga the first time, and it's all a bunch of old men that I knew that are cowboys from Sequoyah County that are the toughest dudes. You think of like the Marlboro Man type picture in your head. That's these dudes, and they're in there in their sweats and, well, dadgum, if Johnny Dale Ely can do yoga, I'm going to do yoga. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I started, and it realigned me. And the pandemic hit, and I was really on a good groove. And, I was starting to do some advanced moves. And I wish I'd have stayed because now I'm a little bit too scared. I don't know. I'm just getting older or something. Well, my son, Luke, he's getting bigger. And now this guy's my height. He wears a size 15 shoe. He weighs 220. I was like, man, his hamstrings are so tight. If he's going to be the athlete that he needs to be, he needs to go. So I can get Luke to yoga one day a week. I get him up at 5:30. Imagine getting a 14-year-old up at 5. But now I think he's starting to enjoy it because the other day I didn't get him up. I walked in, looked at him. I was like, you look at a kid and you're like, oh, he's so darn cute. I'm going to let him sleep. And he got mad at me. He's like, Dad, you didn't get me up this morning. What's the deal? You know what I mean? So, but we're trying to do that. I think my uncle, he's a veterinarian, my mom's brother. And one day he came to me and he said, you've got to be flexible the rest of your life. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, flexibility, Brian. He goes, I went to get on a horse yesterday. I couldn't get on a horse. And he goes, I'm not going to live this way. So he had started doing some stretches. And I got to looking into it. I thought, sometimes when I go to get up on the stage where the podium's at, like I've got a little pep in my step since I've started back. I can feel it.
I know that working out also helps like endorphins. So once if you work out in the morning, you're probably set for the day to feel good,
Absolutely.
And be happy.
I think it's about finding stuff to get you outside, no matter what it is. I'm not as so much as a gym rat as Kinley is, but camping, hiking, getting outside that way has really helped the mental health for sure. I think that's, something we've talked about is going back to the culture a little bit to find, mental wellness. Why is health and wellness important, especially for Cherokees?
When you start talking about mental wellness and all the things, the relationships around you are very important. And I think if we're going to excel and continue to perpetuate the Cherokee way, Cherokee traditions, we've got to do some self-evaluation, making sure that you take care of yourself. And sometimes, no, not sometimes, all the time, when you serve others, you're serving yourself as well. So you can't always self-evaluate. You can't always be just doing for others all the time. So that healthy balance. It's the same thing if I go in and I only bench press every day, then I'm going to have some other muscle groups that need attention, and I'm going to overexert the ones that I've only been working. So I think that's critical in what we're doing. And here at the tribe, so fascinated by the individuals that work in each of these departments and how well they do, whether it's career services, whether it's human services, education, all of these pieces. And as somebody, as an elected official in administration, it's good for me to be able to go from department to department and make sure that they're getting my support, the support that they need from me. They're being empowered in a way that they can be successful for what our mission is, and so that's very important.
And you were little. Could you have ever imagined being in public service or being deputy chief of the Cherokee Nation?
Not really. I was supposed to be a dentist, or a doctor. I mean, that is, and I still, sometimes I drive home and I think, do I still have time? I love learning and I loved science and all those things. And growing up with the racehorses, I study everything as if I'm training horses. And it's a very simple way of thinking. There was always a potential for me to be in leadership. I was the president of FFA group. And I didn't want to be the president of Pi Kappa Alpha when I was here at NSU, but I ended up taking that role. So when I decided to take that plunge and put my name in the hat for council in 2015, I had thought about that in 2011. I'd made up my mind up and cemented it in my mind in 2012. But probably in 2011, I served on the Sallisaw City Council. My mother-in-law came to me one day and she was like, hey, they got a seat open up there and they need somebody to fill it. It was funny, and the next day somebody called and I swore, I said, Did my mother-in-law call you? And they're like, nope, no, we just thought of you. And so I served a year on there, and we had to stay in town, but we were actively searching for a new place to live. But at that time, I had really started, talking to my wife, and her aunt, Meredith Fraley, was the speaker of the council, and we'd spent time at Thanksgiving and all these things. And I thought a lot about it, prayed a lot about it, and I thought, why not? Let's give it a shot. And I mean, I had to wait a while. I could have changed my mind all the way, but Mako, she kind of kept pushing me. I think now some days she's like, gosh, I wish I hadn't pushed so hard, because I am gone a lot from time to time. And it's kind of like Marty McFly. There was a part of that movie in Back to the Future where they say, what are you, yellow? You know what I mean? What are you scared? Yeah. And, that was kind of his downfall. And it could be mine if you're not prayerful and jumping into a situation. But I'm always like, well, if somebody has challenged me or said, hey, I think you would do this, I can sit back and be scared about it and not do it. Or I can go into it, understand that I'm nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof, but there's good people around us. There's people that's been here and done this before, been blessed. I had a pastor tell me, you don't try. If you're trying, you've given up, but you're training every day to be better. And that's kind of what we try to tell those kids. We take this approach with all the guys that I've coached with, even the ones now, and we coach them hard during practice. But game day, we let them go play. And we gently talk to them on game day. And then when we go back to practice, that's when we can really hammer in a lot of different things. But on game day, they're already nervous. There's parents there. There's grandparents. There's other people watching. They're playing. Mm-hmm. Don't break them down there. And if you got to tell them something, take them down the third baseline. Be firm, be fair, be consistent.
Those are good words to live by.
We were talking a little bit about family, your upbringing, and it reminded us, about a year ago is when we did your genealogy video. Mm-hmm. Deep dived a little bit into your genealogy. Is there anything that you discovered about your family and your past that maybe surprised you or that you were curious about that you figured out during that?
Boy, those Cherokees like to love.
I'm a common Tidwell descendant.
So right on. You know what I'm talking about. No, those big families, you know what I mean? I used to give my grandpa give my grandmother a heart. She was the youngest out of 12, you know what I mean? And so he'd always make a little side comment about her mom and dad, And I was like, well, Mama, I don't think he's lying, But, I look back, and a lot of people are always looking for that ancestor that was, like, stuck out in time. And then, everybody's wanting to be related to a chief. Those are the great stories you relish. But I kind of look at it as, I'm just Bryan Warner, and I've got a title of being the deputy chief. I'm here for a little while, and I like being a long shot. I love the fact of just being the common man, the common person that has a good heart and doesn't live perfect, but knows that I can do better tomorrow. And I felt a lot of that throughout that genealogy. And there's some people that did stand out in that, but I love that genealogy, that look back. For me, it really started like, you were talking about looking at photos earlier. I've got race win photos, and we've kind of misplaced these. I think they might have been destroyed in a fire somewhere, but I know I hate it for my boys that they don't get to see it, because it was like pictures of my grandma and grandpa racing horses. Then there'd be my dad at age 14, 13, 16, and then here comes my mom in the picture. Then there was this little kid full of hair, Brian, in these photos, and then all the way up to me training, and racehorses, genealogy go hand in hand.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of one of those things when you start looking at pedigree and all that. I mean, I know all the old school pedigree, and then where this mare came from and this horse and who bred this and who did that. And I think, but it becomes even more personal when you start to get into your genealogy. And I like those parts in the road, like my Aunt Carrie and her daughter Joey, they've been looking, they can't find one of the Warners, like this dude just disappears somewhere. So you wonder, like, did he do something bad? Did he change his name? What are those stories? Because I've been told, like, Warner's a prominent name in certain other countries. And I'd like to kind of take a look into that and see, how do all these worlds collide and different things. And, as you start to learn more about history as you're growing up through school, and then later you go back and research more, you start to understand more because you have a deeper meaning that you want behind it. It all makes sense, though. Of how we all got here and how all this stuff intersected because of what was going on in the political climate before colonization, after colonization, and then looking at, before removal, after removal. And if we could go back, like be in the room and be there before a lot of these treaties were written, like what was the sentiment of just the regular common folk at that time that were around, that were working every day, that were making things happen? What was the sentiment of what they meant, the ones that were actually putting pen to paper? I know we can guess, and there's journals and there's different things. Thank goodness a lot of that history was archived by the Moravians and other people.
Something that we uncovered during our genealogy, Kinley and I were both involved in that genealogy project, is both Kinley and I are distantly related to Deb. So, you can't walk through the halls without seeing your cousin.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Now, I would be a terrible producer if I didn't break in and just remind everyone they can go watch Deb's genealogy video on the Cherokee Nation YouTube channel. It's a good 12-minute watch.
Right?
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a good one, yeah. So, Deputy, we know that you're really busy, so we're going to wrap things up. Deb, let's pretend that you're 20 years into the future. What do you hope your legacy will be here at the Cherokee Nation?
Oh, man, I hope that people think of me as somebody that listened. I want everybody to know that whatever's happened, the future is always there, and just take the reins, but be prepared. But I would hope that people would think that I was just somebody that listened to the people, and not just listen, but we took action where action was needed, and somebody that was fair, somebody that was willing to work with people. Whether they supported me or didn't, that doesn't have any bearing on me. If they've got a real issue and they're needing some help, hey, man, let's get together and let's try to do it. And sometimes that looks different than what they want it to look like. But I just want to, that's it. Just simple man, simple life. And, in 20 years, hopefully I can still do some yoga. You know what I mean? So, yep.
I think you're well on that path for sure. Yep. But customarily, we usually end with a lightning round. So
okay.
Kinley and I are going to throw some stuff at you,
okay,
and we're going to see. So starting where it all began, let's start with some Sequoyah County stuff. Favorite sit-down restaurant?
Peggy's. But it's not there anymore. I got to give a shout out to Peggy's, man. Yeah.
And if you need to eat in a hurry, where do you go?
Eat in a hurry. Mickey D's or Brahms. Yeah.
Brahms is classic.
Yeah. If
you could recommend one thing to do in Sallisaw, what would it be?
There is a lot of good fishing around Sallisaw. Whatever, bass fishing, catfish, crappie, sand bass, it's a good place.
What's a quote or phrase that you live by?
Love your neighbor as you would love yourself. Be willing, and that's all about service. It really is, and be willing to put yourself aside and help somebody else because you will be blessed. And
I just have to interject a little bit. My favorite deputy quote is, "If that don't light your fire, then your wood's wet."
I know, I love that
one. Yeah.
Okay, now you have to answer this one with caution. Which sports team do you root for?
Besides the one that your sons play on.
Man, I'm a Thunder guy.
Thunder.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So basketball.
I do. I probably more maybe just because they're in Oklahoma, and I'm a big OU fan, but like you said, there's caution. I love good football, what I mean? But like in basketball, I think I can pare that down to the OK City Thunder. You know, we enjoyed them early on in their success. We're enjoying them now and in between. So, yep.
Okay, Oklahoma in general here, but also probably controversial. Sonic or Brahms, and why?
When I was a kid, it'd been Sonic because that's where all the chicks would come by and drive by and do all that, and then we'd all hang out. Now it's got to be Brahms. I love that. Chicken Club sandwich that they've got.
Their chicken is very underrated.
It is, and you get some of that bacon on there, and then a good chocolate milkshake on the side, and you dip your fries into it. Do whatever you want, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For me, it's Brahms because there's not a whole lot of places like that. You travel around, and a lot of them you can go grocery shopping, you can get ice cream, you can get burger and fries all in the same spot, and I feel like that's probably a uniquely Oklahoman thing for a lot of places.
Amen.
Mine has to be Sonic. It's just like I'm from like Stillwell area.
She was the girl hanging
We
out
didn't
at
have a Brahms.
Right.
You know, we had to go to Tahlequah to get a Brahms.
Right.
So Sonic.
All right, so if you're at Sonic, though, what's your drink?
Well, do I get a drink or a dessert drink?
Either way.
Either one?
Yeah.
Oreo, like an Oreo blast
Gotcha.
type thing.
Okay.
That's what I
All
get.
right.
I love it.
What about you, Brian?
Producer Brian?
Oh my gosh. Well, I spent a lot of my 20s moving around, and I wasn't always close to a Brahms, and I would tell everyone about, Brahms. So Brahms. And I promise we're not sponsored by Brahms.
Yeah.
No,
But if you want to, I mean,
right on. Well, and hey, I'll tell you right now, though, the Sonic burger might be better than Jeremy's burger. I was like, all right, I want to try it out.
we won't tell Jeremy that.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your favorite Cherokee word or phrase?
I would say Kageyui. I love you.
That's a good one.
And you said earlier that you'll listen to anything that is good, but what is your favorite genre of music or your favorite artist?
Man, that depends on where I'm at, really. If I'm, but I grew up on country music, really. You know what I mean? And it was the Horses. I'm telling you, I love good rock, and I loved but the Horses. If you changed that channel and it was too rock and roll, my dad, number one, he would light a fuse under anybody that did that. But you would see a change in their behavior. I am not kidding you, because you're bottled up energy. So AC/DC comes on. What are they wanting to do? You know what I mean? They're ready to rock. So we'd keep that old. So our horses were, all those old country songs were about love and lost love, right? So they were all we were training lovers there. You know what I mean? So, but yeah,
Keeping the pedigree going.
Absolutely, yeah.
Favorite Cherokee national holiday event?
I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoy, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of getting up early, but I like that legislative breakfast that we do. Call it weird, but I get to see some of my old colleagues that come in from the higher ed, and you get to see some other individuals, and everybody's so frantic because of the day, and it's either raining outside, and I look, and I'm like, it's gonna be all right. We got this. That's one of my. That's not really like an event, but that's one of my favorite. That kind of gets it going for me. But I will tell you, coming in now, last year I got to go to my first Little Ambassador. I know that's not during the holiday, but it kind of kicks that holiday off. Man, that was really good. They do those people that put that together, the ladies and people that help with that Little Ambassador pageant. No, nothing against the Miss Cherokee and Junior Miss pageant, but man, those littles, that was something. That was really good. Yep.
And Sallisaw is a water-based town, like you said. So lake, river, or pool kind of guy?
I'd spent a lot of time in pools. It was the KOA. It's where I learned to swim there at Sallisaw.
Nice.
But I would say Lake 10 Killer, man.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to beat.
Yeah, it is. College days, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're going to the river. We're going to Welling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how it is. Yeah.
Hunting or fishing?
Hunting. Yeah.
And you talked about this a lot, but you never specified. So what is your favorite breed of horse?
Oh, quarter horse, no doubt about it. I mean, but man, my uncle, he'd be mad because he's a big thoroughbred guy. But there's the American quarter horse is the world's fastest athlete.
Fill in the blank. I am proud to be Cherokee because blank.
Because of the resiliency of all of our people. I mean, think about the things that we go through, but we should be able to understand that we have that resiliency factor. That is a sense of pride, man. Just those things alone are worth. If I know that there's another Marigold Ross out there somewhere in these little girls, or another Wilma Mankiller, or there's another great male chief or what. Man, we've got an opportunity to help mold those people as much as anything. That I feel like that should be my mission here, is to empower individuals no matter where they're at.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We're going to let you get back to your busy schedule, but we appreciate everything you do for the tribe. You're that guy that a lot of people lean on, and a lot of people love to see in the hallway and, shake your hand. So just thank you for being here today, and we appreciate to get an hour to talk to you.
Well, thank you all for inviting me in, and I hope I didn't overstay my welcome. You know what I mean? My wife says I can talk all day. And, I was a quiet kid, but I sure appreciate you all, and you all do such a fabulous job, and these are the fun things. We need to do more of this. So, Wado, and if you're listening, behave yourself out there, okay?
I love that. Wado.
Siyo from the Res was recorded at the W.W. Keeler Tribal Complex in Tahlequah on the Cherokee Nation Reservation.
This episode was hosted by Kenley Keys and Colton Brandstetter.
Our producer is Brian Dugan.
Our podcast art was designed by Justine Eden.
This episode was edited by Samantha Robinson.
Soundtrack by Chuge Mackey.
If you're enjoying the show, please subscribe and leave a review. It'll help more people find us, and please share this episode with your family and friends, especially some of our elders who may not be on social media or listen to podcasts.
And don't forget to follow Cherokee Nation on social media for podcast updates and behind-the-scenes content.
We want to hear from you. Do you know any Cherokee Nation citizens that have an interesting story? Email us at podcast@cherokee.org.
Until next time, stay connected, watch out for each other, and see yo from the res.